So you might be asking yourself, thinking about retirement. Maybe it came up in conversation, or maybe you're thinking about it yourself, getting a little bit closer to that date, and it occurred to you that taxes are going to be due in retirement. And when you're working for a company, you automatically pay the taxes out of your paycheck. So you never really have to think about the taxes that you're going to be paying. However, when you retire, a lot of the onus now is on you to pay the taxes, and there's some different ways to do that. So the question may occur, how much will I pay in taxes in retirement? So when I think about this, uh, I saw a video recently, and it was a young man, and he was with his family or friends, somebody. He was with a group of guys, and and the video shows him. He's so excited. He just got his first paycheck, very first paycheck, and so his friends and family are are looking around, and he opens it up, and you could just see the excitement on his face. And he opens up that opens up the statement, his pay stub. He's ready to go cash that check, and he looks and he's looking at it, and he's like, and you can just see him kind of slump, kind of sit back in his chair, and you can see that the amount that he made was not the amount that he's going to take home because of his silent partner in earning income, Uncle Sam. He hadn't really considered the idea of having to pay taxes on his income because it was his first paycheck, right? So we all know taxes have to come out. So what your gross pay or what your total income is not what you actually get to spend because of the silent partner that we all have, Uncle Sam. Whenever it comes to retirement, sometimes I find clients can feel a little bit like that young man where they're thinking, "Oh man, I'm going to get all this income," but then have to realize Uncle Sam does want his cut. Now, the nice thing is with retirement income, you don't have to worry about Social Security, Medicare taxes because retirement income generally does not come associated with any of that Social Security, Medicare taxes. But there's still the federal income tax if you live in a state with income taxes. There might be state income taxes as well. The great state of Florida does not have any income taxes, so that's nice if you live in Florida. But if you don't, of course, there's taxes. I have a lot of clients in California as well, working a lot with Disney employees. So when we think about retirement and how much taxes will you pay in retirement, or how much taxes will I pay in retirement? The first thing that you have to start with to really be able to answer that question is how much income do you need? And that's going to be very specific to your situation. I've done some videos on that. You can go back and check those out. Go back and check out the link to it. But basically, you're wanting to figure out how much income do you need on a net basis to cover your monthly expenses, things that you want to do, your traveling, healthcare, all of that stuff. You need to add all of that up to be able to figure out how much income do you need to live off of. So that's step one. The second step is then where is the money going to come from? So if you need $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month or $2,000 a month, where is that money going to come from is the second thing that you need to figure out. Is it going to come from Social Security? Maybe part of it. Maybe you have a pension, that's part of it. Are you going to have you saved? Do you have cash, checking savings accounts available? Do you have an IRA, a 401k, Roth IRAs, annuities, all different sorts of stocks, mutual funds? There's all different sorts of ways that you can go about generating that retirement income. But you need to understand where is the income going to be coming from, because then that's going to lead us into step number three is how is that source of income taxed? So if you know you need $80,000 a year, you're going to have to then come up with that $80,000 a year from somewhere. And usually in retirement, it's multiple different sources. It's very rarely is it coming from one source. So the source of the income is going to determine how it is taxed, and that's a different mindset. It's a mindset shift when you're working to when you're no longer working, because all of your income as a wage earner is treated pretty much the same, unless you do have some stock compensation, and there's some complexities there, certainly. But for your average person, going from a wage earner into a retired person, Now the source of the income matters, especially if you have savings outside of just being able to claim a pension or Social Security. So the different types of or different sources of income are going to be taxed in a different way. So like Social Security, that can be taxed up to 85% of that can be taxed, and that's considered ordinary income. Your pension is going to be ordinary income. And ordinary income is what's going to be your typical tax bracket. So you may be in the 12% bracket or the 22% bracket, and those change from time to time as tax laws change. However, depending on you, perhaps you have a Roth account, that's going to come out tax-free as long as you meet the stipulations with the Roth rules. There's a few rules to be aware of with Roth distributions or taking withdrawals from a Roth account. Maybe you have invested in company stock along the years, and so you have some company stock that you can use. That's going to be taxed differently because of potential capital gains or losses. Hopefully you don't have losses, but if you have gains, that's taxed differently. Capital gain is taxed differently than what your ordinary income rate is going to be taxed. Or maybe you have saved up cash, you spend less than you make, and you have an accumulation of cash. There hasn't been a lot of great things to do with the cash from an investment perspective, perhaps, or if you want to keep it liquid and accessible. So you have the money there, and so maybe it's just using money that you've already have saved. You've already paid taxes on that, so there's really no tax ramifications at all if it's in an after-tax, like a checking account, for instance, or a savings account. And so we kind of tie all these pieces together to then coordinate and really help you get to that step one: is how much income do you need? And then the sources are then going to determine how is it taxed. And so then we know, okay, so if you need $80,000, you may, because it's coming from Social Security, pension, and maybe 401k withdrawals, you're going to actually have to take out maybe $90,000 or $95,000 to get to that net $80,000 number. So let me give you an example of a client I was working with recently. He recently retired and needed about $80,000 a year in income. And so there was a few, and he had saved, he has his 401k, has some company stock as well that he invested in along the years, and some after-tax mutual funds. And then he has company pension and Social Security as well. Now, he retired a little bit early, before 65, so he was about 60 whenever he retired, and needs about $80,000 a year. So we had a few different options to choose from. And the beauty with retirement income is that we can choose when and how to take the income to really try to minimize the tax impact. So going down the path originally that he wanted was, he's thinking, hey, I'm retired, so I'm going to use my retirement account to live off of, his 401k. Yeah, great, that sounds good. However, whenever you take money out of your 401k, if it's a traditional 401k, that's going to be taxed at ordinary income rates. And so if he was taking out $80,000, the calculation ended up being something like he was going to owe $8,000 or $9,000 in taxes. So he was actually going to have to take out roughly $90,000 to net the $80,000 number. Now, we looked and said, okay, well, let's try to minimize the tax ramifications. And so what we noticed is he actually had some after-tax mutual funds that had some gains in them. And so capital gains are treated differently, and there's a different tax rate associated with capital gains. And so we were actually able to structure it where we took $80,000 from his after-tax account, had some capital gains in there, but there's a capital gain limit under a certain amount of income. You pay 0% taxes on your capital gains. And so we knew all of this going in, and we planned appropriately. So he went from having to pay, with his idea, he was going to have to pay roughly $9,000 in taxes. With my idea, he was actually going to then pay zero in taxes. So it was almost a $9,000 savings for that year, in addition to, whenever your income is structured in a certain way, you also potentially qualify for subsidies with healthcare. So that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But that just hopefully gives you one example of how to thoughtfully create that income and give you an idea of how much income tax will you pay in retirement. It's going to vary widely based on the income sources that you have and how you are structuring that income. The great thing with retirement income is not only do you have more freedom with your time, you also have freedom with how you take the income. And so that can then be used to your advantage. My name is Kyle Newell, and I am a fee-only financial advisor in the Winter Garden, Florida area. I serve clients in the greater Orlando area in person or virtually. I also work with clients across the country virtually, and this has just been a little bit of helpful educational content. Of course, there's no specifics recommendations given here, just giving examples and hypothetical situations that one could consider from an educational purpose. Of course, I'm not giving any specific advice over this platform because, again, I don't know you. But if you do want to understand how this might apply to your specific situation, I'm happy to chat. Offer a 30-minute, no cost, no obligation introductory call. We could do that in person or over Zoom or over the phone. And you can kind of give me an idea of your situation and what you're trying to work on, and I can see how I can help. You can always just drop me a comment or send me a message, send me an email, shoot me a text, give me a phone call. Happy to chat with you and see if there's something that I can help out with. But otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope that I see you real soon. Take care.